In this video, I want to introduce you to the idea of certifications in Agile. And certifications are kind of like qualifications. They're processes you go through. You might take an exam, you might do some continuing professional development, you might do a course, and at the end of it, you get a certificate. You get some sort of accreditation that you've reached a certain level of knowledge, a certain level of skills, a certain level of experience. And as a recruiter, they're really important for you to know about because lots of candidates could be coming to you with all sorts of different certifications in different Agile frameworks and within the Agile space. And it's really important you understand what the different certifications are, what they mean, how they relate to each other, the different levels of work and knowledge and skills and experience required to get each one. And it's also worth understanding that actually they're a bit controversial. There's a bit of controversy around certifications within Agile because Agile is a mindset and a culture. It's a way of being. Agile is something you are, not something you do. And therefore it's really hard to learn through books. If you think back to the culture you personally grew up in, the area you grew up in, could you explain to somebody through a book, through just a written exam, the culture of your home area? Of course you couldn't. And if Agile is a culture, then it's really hard to learn just through books and exams. But that said, I think there's a huge amount of value in certifications because they're very, very varied. Some of them just show you've got a basic level of knowledge. Some of them do an awful lot of research into your background. They take references. They require years and years of experience. You can have face-to-face interviews you've got to pass and you could potentially fail. So it's a massively varied topic. And to illustrate it, I'd like to share with you a small section of the full certifications module from the Agile for Recruiters course that I'm running about the Scrum Alliance certifications, just to use the Scrum Alliance as an example of the massive breadth of different certifications you get, from kind of entry-level certifications right up to ones that take years and years of experience. The first certification body I want to look at is called the Scrum Alliance, and it's probably one of the ones as a recruiter looking at candidates you're more likely to come across than possibly any other certification organisation. The Scrum Alliance is really, really big. It's really, really popular. It touches lots and lots of different areas, which we'll look at in a minute. And one of their certifications is called Certified Scrum Master, which is honestly the most regular thing you see in terms of certification on job descriptions. There are other ways of becoming certified in being a Scrum Master, but they're not called Certified Scrum Master. So if people are talking about Certified Scrum Master, they're talking by definition about the Scrum Alliance one. So yes, first of all, Certified Scrum Master. It's a really big certification. It's a really common one. In terms of what you need to get it, you need to do a 2-day course, which is 16 hours, and you need to do that with a certified Scrum trainer, who is someone that the Scrum Alliance has certified is good enough to train you in being a Scrum Master. So there's a level of kind of quality assurance in there with that. The Certified Scrum Trainer will then put you in for the Certified Scrum Master exam, and that's an online test. You can take it in your own time. It's technically open book because they can't stop you looking at stuff when you're doing it at home online. And it's multiple choice, and you have to get 24 out of 35 questions correct. So that's about 69%, just under 69% of questions correct. And it's really interesting. The course is fantastic. I've done Certified Scrum Master training myself, and it's really, really good. I would really recommend it if you're interested in finding out more about Scrum. I would really recommend becoming a Certified Scrum Master yourself. The 2-day introduction course, I don't think in and of itself gives you enough to be the most fantastic Scrum Master ever. There's so much more learning and training and development you need to do to become a fantastic Scrum Master, but it gives you the basics in it, and it's a really, really great introduction to Scrum. And one thing I want to look at with some of these certifications, wherever we can, is actually how many people hold them, just to get a sense of how big they are, how popular they are, and so forth. And with the Certified Scrum Master certification, that's held by 349,358 people in the world at the time of recording this, which is kind of mid-May 2016. The next certification coming from the Scrum Alliance is Certified Scrum Product Owner. And this is a really interesting one because, again, you've got to do a 2-day course for it, but there's no exam. If you go through the Certified Scrum Product Owner course, it's great. It's a great way of learning about being a product owner and getting into more depth with it. but finish that course and you are a certified Scrum product owner. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I think, you know, it gives you some context on how difficult it is to become a certified Scrum product owner. Interestingly, you don't often see it mentioned in job ads, whether that's because people just don't know about it, whether that's because people do know about it but know that it's not very difficult at all to get. You just need to go through the course. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, again, it's a great introduction to that area. It's a fantastic course, but you wouldn't be the most amazing product owner on the entire planet just from doing that course alone. There is an awful lot more you can learn. Loads of blogs out there, loads of great books, etc., on being a product owner. In terms of the number of people who hold the Certified Scrum Product Owner certification, it's not actually as many as the Certified Scrum Master, which is kind of interesting given Certified Scrum Master does require you to pass a test, which you can fail, and Certified Scrum Product Owner doesn't. So at the time of recording this video, there are 74,379 people globally holding the Certified Scrum Product Owner certification. So it's what, a quarter roughly, off the top of my head, of the people who hold, the same number of people who hold Certified Scrum Master. The next one you might come across is Certified Scrum Developer, which is, you know, if you look at what Scrum is, there's a Scrum Master, there's Product Owner, and there's Team Member. And typically the Team Member, if you're using Scrum in a software environment, will be a developer of some sort. So the Scrum Alliance offer a Certified Scrum Developer course, which is potentially quite interesting. And this is quite rigorous. There's actually two different routes to getting it. The first one is if you hold a Certified Scrum Master certification already, you do the CSM course for 2 days, you pass the exam. And then if you do that, that's called track 1. And then you just need to do a 3-day course, a technical course on Agile engineering practices. Alternatively, if you don't do the CSM course, there's track 2, where you do a 1-day introduction to Certified Scrum Developer course, a 3-day Agile engineering practices technical course like you would have done in track 1, and also a 1-day technical elective course, which I'm not quite sure what that involves because I've never done it myself. But I imagine being elective, you can kind of be a bit selective over what you do. And it's quite interesting because this is assessed, but it's not necessarily assessed in an entirely fixed way. The Scrum Alliance website just says, during your CSD course, you must also demonstrate an understanding of Scrum and Agile engineering practices by passing a CSD assessment provided by your registered education provider or instructor. The assessment may be an exam administered by the instructor to test your knowledge, or it may be an active classroom-based assessment. So it's kind of a bit amorphous as to how you can pass that one, but given it's a 5-day course and given there is a test, it is a rigorous certification. And interestingly, there aren't too many people at all who hold it. And again, I'm not sure whether that's because it's not entirely popular or whether actually it's really quite a lot of work to go through to get. But globally at the moment, there's only 3,607 people recorded as holding that certification, so really, really small number. And again, I'm not quite sure what that means, but I've never seen it turn up on a job ad. No one's ever said, ideally, we would like a certified Scrum developer, which seems a shame because you actually have to do, by the sound of it, quite a lot of learning to do it. And you could be a certified Scrum Master. It's almost slightly above certified Scrum Master to a degree. So yeah, I'd give that certification some weight to a degree. Moving on then, the Scrum Alliance offers some higher level certifications which start bringing in things around checking people's experience as well. The first one of these is Certified Scrum Professional, and this is one I've done so I can kind of talk about it from my own personal experience. And it's actually a really, really rigorous thing. There's a bunch of criteria you have to meet in order to become a Certified Scrum Professional. So first of all, you need to be a current Certified Scrum Master, Certified Scrum Product Owner, or Certified Scrum Developer credential holder. On top of that, you need to have a minimum of 36 months of successful Agile/Scrum work experience that you've gained within the past 5 years, implementing Scrum inside organisations, either as a team member, a product owner, a Scrum Master, or other. And then, as well as having that experience, that kind of 3 years experience within the last 5 years, you also have to gain 70 Scrum education units and basically an hour of continuous professional development, an hour of training, an hour of attending a meetup, an hour of going to a conference and so forth, counts as an SEU, a Scrum education unit. And you have to gain 70 of those and demonstrate them in order to become a certified Scrum Professional. And the interesting thing with it is you don't just fill in a bunch of paperwork and tick some boxes and send it off. Every time you complete a Scrum education unit, you actually have to fill in quite a big form and write about what it was, what the learning objectives were, and what you personally learned from it. And they check all of this when they're assessing your application to become a certified Scrum Professional. And I know for a fact they also check your references in detail around your last 36 months experience, or how much experience you have. They contact all the people you give as references, and they have to write back a convincing email in order for you to get it. So it's a tough certification to get. If you see someone who's a certified Scrum Professional, not only are they likely to be a certified Scrum Master or certified Scrum Product Owner or developer, but they're also likely to actually have some, at least 3 years experience in doing this, and be the sort of person that's really interested in learning and developing and has spent 70 hours independently learning new stuff, attending meetups, attending conferences, doing online training. There's lots of different categories your Scrum education units have to fall into, and some of the categories have caps on, so you can't just watch 70 hours of online video and call that done. It has to be across a mix of things. So yeah, Certified Scrum Professional, it's a really tough qualification to get, and a lot of people do fail it. I've heard of people applying for it and not getting it. So if you see someone with that, I think that'll be a really strong indicator that you kind of don't have to worry about their Scrum knowledge necessarily, about their experience working with Scrum, and about their commitment to learning more about it. In terms of numbers of people who've got it, again, it's not particularly high. At the moment, there are currently just over 4,000 people. 4,036 people are certified Scrum professionals in the entire world. And last time I looked, there's about 150 of them in the UK. So in terms of how many people hold it, if you think back to Certified Scrum Master, there's over 300,000 of those in the world. And with Certified Scrum Professional, there's only 4,000. Certified Scrum Professional really is kind of the next level up. Earlier on in this course, we looked at coaching as a thing, and Scrum doesn't necessarily have a role in it called coach, but coaching is a big part of it. Scrum Masters do coaching. You could bring in Agile coaches to help Scrum adoptions and so forth. And so as a result, the Scrum Alliance offer a couple of coaching certifications, which are really, really, really difficult to get and take an awful lot of work. The first one is called Certified Team Coach, and it's worth saying actually they've recently split these out, so there's a team coach and an enterprise coach. And to become a certified team coach with the Scrum Alliance, first of all, you need to hold an active Certified Scrum Professional designation. You need to be a Certified Scrum Professional. Then you need to demonstrate a minimum of 2 years and 1,000 hours of Scrum coaching experience across a diversity of teams. You need to demonstrate active engagement in, contribution to, and leadership in the Scrum community over a minimum of 2 years. Demonstrate a journey of learning through formal and informal education and mentor relationships. Provide 2 different client recommendations and 1 mentor recommendation to verify your coaching experience and skills. And complete a 2-part application process that is both quantitative and qualitative. So there's a huge amount of checking they do there, and if the Certified Scrum Professional thing is anything to go by, they check all of this stuff. They really look into it. So if you find someone who's a certified team coach, they are some of the best people at Scrum at the moment. It will not necessarily the best. It's possible to do all of these things and not be a certified team coach, of course. But it's a real mark of, they have done a lot of stuff. They have real experience. They have real knowledge. They have passed some tests. They have clients who are willing to recommend them. It's a real sort of mark of quality. And interestingly, there's very, very, very few of them. And I suspect this is actually because the Scrum Alliance has recently broken up its coaching certification into team coach and enterprise coach. But at the moment, there are currently 5 certified team coaches, Scrum Alliance team coaches in the world, and none in the UK. So I would say if you find one of these people, you really want to be working with them. And if you find one of these people, it's quite impressive because there's only 5 in the entire planet. So you may not, but over time that will grow. The Scrum Alliance are growing these courses and growing these certifications, so you will start finding more certified team coaches. The next one up from certified team coach is certified enterprise coach, which is similar but even more rigorous to get. So if we look at some of the criteria, you need to be have been a certified Scrum Professional for a minimum of 1 year. You've significant hands-on experience in at least one of the roles on the Scrum team. You've coached 3 or more organisations, departments or programmes. You've a minimum of 3 years and 2,000 hours of experience coaching at the enterprise/organisational level, or a combination of enterprise and multi-team coaching. You've got a diversity of coaching experience demonstrated using different client engagement examples. And then it just goes on and on and on. There's a massive list of the various things that certified enterprise coaches need to meet in order to get that accreditation. And again, there's not very many of these people. There are 88 of them in the world, and from what I can quickly check, 8 of them are based in the UK. I suspect what's happened is some of the people who are just certified Scrum coaches have moved up to the enterprise level rather than sticking at the team level or whatever when the certification's been broken up. So yes, again, these people, that certification is, I think, a real mark of having learned an awful lot of stuff, having an awful lot of experience behind you. And, you know, you can obviously check these people's references, but in a way, the Scrum Alliance has done some of that reference checking for you as well. So I hope by just using the Scrum Alliance as an example, you've got an impression now of the massive breadth of different certifications that are available and the different amounts of knowledge and learning and skills and experience and work that have to go into gaining each of the different certifications. It's worth saying though that you shouldn't just look at Agile certifications. As with any job, as with any community, any profession, there are transferable skills involved. And it's really important to understand Agile as a recruiter to get a really good sense of which transferable skills might be relevant. Because if you look at something like an MBA course, MBA courses can contain a huge amount of learning and knowledge and practical experience around things like organisational change or strategy or leadership and so forth, all of which can be hugely important in Agile because Agile very often involves transformation. It involves moving an organisation from a traditional process, a traditional mindset into an Agile process. And Agile itself is all about constantly evolving and iterating and adapting and responding to change. So transferable skills around things like change and leadership could be really, really useful. You can also find organisations like the International Coaching Federation if you're looking for Agile coaches. Maybe there are some coaching certifications outside of the Agile space that could provide really, really useful transferable skills. Maybe even things like psychology and counselling. If this is about organisational change and building interpersonal communication between people, maybe you could put someone really useful in an Agile team who was a trained organisational psychologist, even a counsellor, even a trained facilitator. There's all sorts of different transferable skills that could be useful. And this is why I think it's really, really important as a recruiter for you to understand Agile, for you to understand what it is, the mindset, the frameworks, all the different components of it, because only once you do that can you really get a sense of just how many different transferable skills could be useful and in which cultures and which contexts and which environments those particular skills would be useful. So as I say, this has just been a short introduction to the idea of certifications within Agile and specifically the certifications that the Scrum Alliance use just as an example to take. If you want to find out more about them, in the Agile for Recruiters online training course that I'm making available, there's a huge amount of different certifications covered there, pretty much every Agile certification, every Agile framework certification that I could find. So if you're interested in finding out more about this and would like to sign up for the course, just go to www.agileforrecruiters.com.